And this is Infinite Wisdom. And welcome to everybody. I want to give a warm, warm welcome to my friend Teresa Wornstaff, who is here tonight to talk about all the things that I'm going to ask her. And she is a beloved sister in this wonderful journey we have about spiritual evolution. And she has had a mission that you will hear about that's not going to sound too dissimilar to you. So let's just go straight ahead and say thank you, Teresa. Thanks for coming on.
So good to be here, Hope. I just love spending time with you, and we always get up to such fun shenanigans. So, stay tuned, everybody.
We do, and I wish we lived closer together because we would be hanging out all the time.
Yes.
Well, listen, I sort of have a way of going back to childhood with people because there are usually breadcrumbs that appear in childhood we're not aware of at the time, but when we look back, we can see the thread, the pathway that those adorable little breadcrumbs make. So take us back. Where were you born? What was your childhood situation, your family, and all that kind of thing?
Thank you for asking because it's a story I enjoy sharing because it's so incredibly unique. I was born in Edmonton, Alberta.
Uh-huh.
My mother's family came from Ukrainian stock, and they had come over to Canada to reestablish themselves. And, you know, if anybody is aware of that migration, when people came over, they're literally throwing shacks up. And my grandfather's family dug a cave in the side of a hill and lived there until they could put together. I know, isn't it fascinating?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Talk about resilience, right?
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yeah. Um, so very strong, resilient, independent, um, stock. My father's family, very British Irish, very traditional in their perspectives on the world. And I was the first grandchild in both families.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What year was it that your grandfather um, came over?
I,
Came like
yeah, I don't
early
know.
1900s, or
Yeah. Mm.
and then your other side of your family, your father's side, had come over from Ireland similar to.
Ireland, England. So
Uh-huh.
they had that merge
Uh-huh.
of roots, which is very
Uh-huh.
common.
Yes.
Um, and very affiliated with the Daltons, which is the um,
China?
China. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, couldn't
Uh-huh.
find that word.
Okay.
So it was very disparate backgrounds,
And
right?
they all went to Edmonton.
They all ended up in Edmonton. I
Wow.
know.
Who would have thought? Okay, so they live in a cave until they can get a house.
Yeah. And they became farmers.
Okay.
And then they became entrepreneurs because they started their own business.
But were they given land? Was this sort of a we'll give you land if you move here kind of thing?
Now it's here's open country. Um, I'm going to build my shack, my house here, and I'm going to farm this land.
Just kind of
And
claim it.
yeah, um,
Got it.
homesteading. Yeah,
Setting. Yep. Okay.
yeah,
So then they became entrepreneurs. You said they have businesses.
yes, they did.
What
Then
they
they
do?
decide. My grandmother started because they had built this house and all the kids had moved out and on their own. She started bringing in men who were migrating from Europe and renting out rooms. And
Uh-huh.
then she bought another one and rented out more rooms. And then she managed a facility for the elderly. I mean, it was just this. She was very, very courageous and forward thinking. Like, okay, I see a need, let's fill it. I see a need, let's fill it. This wasn't
Wow.
about, I'm going to start a business, let's make money.
Mhm.
No, she was
No.
successful because she saw a need and said, okay, let's fill that gap. Because, I mean, let's face it, I don't live in Edmonton now and I won't move back because it's too dang cold. You know?
She was doing this in the horrible winter and all the can you imagine in those days? Didn't
Yeah,
even have cars. They're just barely getting them out in the country, and horse-drawn carriages and everything through feet and feet of snow.
yeah,
Sleds,
yeah,
I guess, sleds in the winter.
yeah. They
Still
would pile things on wood and cart them. Yeah.
unbelievable.
And
Wow.
my mom would tell stories of running around as a child barefoot because you did,
Yeah.
you know,
So
it
you
was,
were the first grandchild of both sides of the family, so everybody adored you.
I was so well loved. I was, and it was such, so you had the two paradigms. You had my father's family who said, keep up appearances. My mother's family who said, are you taking care of everything? And did you
Mhm,
put money in savings? And are you
mhm,
planning for the future? So there was this very paradigm difference. My dad coached football and taught professional golfers. He was very charismatic. He ended up becoming a global entrepreneur and brought new technology to China. And I mean, so this entrepreneurial string ran through both sides, but in such very, very different ways.
mhm. What a blessing for you, though, because both those sides are helpful in a way, right? To form
Yeah.
our how we take care of ourselves, how we become independent, which is what they wanted you to be. So what was when you were a kid, were you running around in the woods and in the fields, or what were you doing?
No, very quickly we moved to Vancouver, BC, and my dad started a career.
Okay.
And if you've never been to Vancouver, BC, go. It's stunning. Um, and I was very different from most kids.
Mhm.
I can remember laying in my crib, playing with energy and seeing beings. So,
Really?
yes, when I was born with all of my intuitive abilities wide open. And um, it was very disconcerting.
I'm sure.
And then, you know how life happens? Things
Mhm,
started to roll. We had, my mom had two more children. One was medically needy. She had another child. Um, and there was very much this overlay of patriarchy in the
mhm,
home.
mhm,
Mom was going to stay home, take care of the kids, take care of the house, cook
mhm,
and clean. Dad was out building his business,
mhm,
climbing the ladder, being the charismatic superstar that
mhm,
everybody revolved around.
mhm,
Um, and for me, being this little intuitive kid, I would watch my parents make decisions. And intuitively, I can put words to it now. I couldn't then. But intuitively, I'd know that's a terrible decision. The repercussions are not healthy for anybody.
wow.
Or this was most present for me in school. I would be speaking with my teacher, and my teacher would lie to me. And I'd be like, what do I do with that? I, I don't know what to do with that.
Oh,
So I had this perspective on the world I had this one side that was magical and mystical and beautiful and love, so deeply filled with love. Then I had this other one that was evolving, that was proving itself to be unsafe and scary and uncertain. And even the people who were supposed to take care of me and be the example that I followed were out of alignment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you can feel when something's not right.
Mm-hmm.
So I systematically started to create beliefs and behaviors that kept myself safe.
You know, Teresa, not to interrupt you, but I think that you are blessed in that you can actually cognize and remember this.
Yeah.
Whereas I think everybody, it happens to everyone.
Yeah.
But we can't say, oh, I remember, or this is how it was. It's so helpful to hear you call it out in this way. And if for all of us to go, yeah, I'm sure that happened to me too. I just don't remember.
Yes. 100%. That's why I said in the beginning, I'm so glad you asked, because it gives everyone else implicit permission to say, wow, as I reflect back on my childhood, I can see how that played out for me.
Yeah.
Because we're so in touch with our intuition as a child,
Yeah.
especially before the age of 8,
Yeah.
that all of our perception on our world is run through the filter of our intuition. And these abilities are such a profound gift. You know, they keep us safe. And then you introduce all the things that humans do as they do, you know, all the atrocities.
Right.
And so it's any wonder that we are facing what we're facing, which is, in my opinion, the restructuring of the foundations.
Yes.
And not only all of our systems, but those internal systems and our beingness as well.
Yes. And we're going to put a pin in that because we're going to get back to that for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
But for now, let's go back. So you continued on, but you had to sort of more increasingly conform,
Yes.
as most of us do.
Yeah.
And at what point, when you were in high school, what were you interested in? What was your favorite subject, and where were you drawn?
Art.
I knew you were going to say that. Art, right?
Yeah, because it was the only time that I could be fully self-expressed.
Yeah.
Did I have an affinity for English? 100%. Did I write? Did I read? I was an avid reader because that's the best place to hide, in my opinion, is in a book.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, the only way I could be fully self-expressed is through art. And trigger warning, I also was essayed about 5 times before the age of 15. So in addition to that, there was the physical
family or somebody.
family, neighbors, strangers.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Thank you. Well, I was until I wasn't.
Mhm.
And here's why. I understand why it happened. I understand that I can now carry the resonant energy of healing. I didn't do anything wrong.
Right. Mhm.
And if I can take that experience and allow it to inform who I'm being as a compassionate, loving, open, sovereign
Yeah.
individual,
Yeah.
then somebody I'm going to run into is going to be able to entrain into that energy and begin their own healing process.
Well, let me just say, it's one thing to say that. It's another thing to embody that the way you do.
Yeah.
And there aren't that many people who get there. But that is number one on the ladder of spiritual evolution. You've just demonstrated this what's required in healing
Yeah.
is a great deal of forgiveness, a great deal of rearrangement of self, rearrangement that how you stand in the world, how this sovereignty you spoke of,
Yeah.
and the desire to be that for others. It's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. Um, okay. Well, let's find out where you went and when you took a turn into spirituality. What called to you? Were those grandparents or parents were brought up in a religion? How did you get into the spiritual realm?
I always had a toe in the spiritual realm, whether it was circumstantial
Mhm.
or on purpose. And by that, I mean, for example, my family took a vacation when I was 16 years old. I'd had my license for about 8 months, and we were going back to where we used to live in Toronto, from Montreal to Toronto. Not a long drive, but my dad offered I could take the car and visit my friends. And I said, absolutely. Freedom at 16? Uh-huh. Yes, please. So we arrived that night. I went and visited my friends, and I'm driving home back to our family friends. And I'm on the freeway on the QEW, as a matter of fact. And all of a sudden, I could hear my guides go, slow down now. And I speed some. I did more then. And I immediately pulled off the gas. And I started looking around because it was like 10:30 on a weeknight. It was pretty quiet. And I saw a cop on the side of the road. And you when you hear that, you think, "Oh, so you avoided a speeding ticket." Right? No. The malevolence that radiated from this cop. Okay, so let's contextualize this.
Yeah,
16-year-old,
yeah,
right?
I'm hearing
16.
you. I'm going right there.
Yep. Alone,
Yeah, deserted
addressed
highway.
in
Yeah.
another province. And I that was a defining moment for me.
Mm,
I knew that I was divinely cared for.
mhm,
That as long as I listened,
mhm,
that I would be okay, no matter what.
mm. That's huge.
Huge. So
And then
that
only at
was
16, that's amazing.
yeah. So that was the catalyst for me to say, okay, I'm gonna be the closet spiritualist, right? I'm
Join
not
the
gonna tell
club.
anybody. Yeah. And so even in my 20s, I can remember having never heard of tarot decks. I picked up a deck of cards, and we're in a hotel room in Costa Mesa, California. And I said to one of my buddies, we're all sitting around drinking beer, and I said, I'm going to tell your fortune with these playing cards. So I did.
Like you knew it all the time.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
And he came back to me 3 weeks later and he said, everything you said came true. What the heck? Yeah.
Okay.
So it was finding those little moments where I could connect in with my spirituality, um, And then when I had children, I gave myself permission to take any and every class that I could get my hands on. And my kids grew up with tarot cards and belief in healing and sovereignty and autonomy, regardless of the situation that we were
Mhm.
living in, you know?
Mhm.
We
Interest
always, yeah.
you, you passed along a great gift. Kids don't always appreciate those kinds of gifts, and they might turn the other way.
Yeah.
Um, but it sounds like you offered a cave, you offered a safe space for them. That's beautiful. And when did you turn into something that you sort of did on a daily basis, or what happened?
Well, I tried to stay in control of my life. So I went into corporate America
Mhm.
and I went into leadership. I was in sales, I was in customer service, I was leading teams, I was leading cross functional teams, I was leading project teams, training teams. And invariably, what I found was where I was the happiest was when I was looking at the construct of the people, the objectives, and the tools, and designing systems that would help us get to the end goal more quickly, more efficiently, with greater outcomes, whether it was financial or otherwise.
Mhm.
And I found so I started leading projects. I started doing things like that and found it was fun. It was a fun playground.
Mhm.
And then I started looking at the people that made up the teams. And I, walk into any company and you're going to hear rah, rah, rah around the water cooler, right?
Mhm.
I know I'm that old. Sorry. Um, and so I would begin to have conversations with individuals. Well, if you don't like doing this, what would you do? And all of a sudden, I started to see that there was a human element to the constructs that I was building that could have even greater influence on the outcomes. If I could figure out how to help people love what they did, even if it's only 70%, let's face it, we don't like, there's certain things we don't like, right? Then, then the outcome became even better.
Mhm.
And what I noticed is that I would trust my intuition. I would allow them to speak and tell me what they thought I wanted to hear. And then I'd receive what I needed to hear
Mhm.
about the whole situation. And I'd be able to steer the conversation in a direction that they'd walk out and say, what just
And
yeah.
wow.
I
Corporate
can remember
okay.
one gal on my team. She was so deeply into control and she was so dedicated to the company. She'd been there for 18 years. And I told her, your primary mandate is to come in no earlier than 7:30 and stay no later than 5:30. And I want you to go find a hobby.
Wow.
And she looked at me and she said, why? I said, because you have no balance. You have no life. And this can't be your life. I need you to be happy because if you're happy and you come to work, you'll be happier.
Wow.
Yeah. 1 year she did that and different person.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I mean, how many bosses give that kind of permission and care enough,
Yeah.
you know? Um, that's so beautiful, Teresa.
Thank you.
You know, in your bio, you talk about bridging the corporate world with the more spiritual. How did that evolve out of this?
Very gradually.
Mhm.
So it started off optimizing processes and supporting my team. And then as I moved into higher levels of management, I began to see the subtext that went into the running of the company. And the deeper I looked, the more I understood the ramifications of an executive team who was misaligned with their values and purpose
Oh,
as
yeah.
it related to the company. And I could actually see the construct. So when you have a CEO, just like a human, a company has an energy bubble, right? The CEO has direct influence on the boundary
Yeah.
of that company. He keeps it safe. And if he's not invested, if he's only there for the money, that's going to trickle through the whole organization. Then you look at the different, whether it's marketing, marketing is very much aligned with the emotional body. How does this product or service make you feel? And if your marketing executive is performative, it feels disingenuous, right? Finance, if they're all about the bottom line and not how you get to the bottom line, again, you feel taken advantage of.
Mm.
And that directly moves into the mental body and you start to create beliefs. So all of this is trickling into the company and I'm watching this fascinated. So I start to play a little bit and just and run energy during meetings, specifically if we were doing the year-end summary, right? The financial summary for the year. I'd run energy. And I would watch the response of the executives who were presenting. And I'd watch how it would shift from what was practiced to what was a little more authentic and human centric. Not everybody, I'd like to say I was 100% successful, but some were receptive to this shift in reality for themselves.
Well,
Um,
let's talk about that for a minute. When you say running energy, because that can
yeah.
mean different things to every person. So let's find out what that meant for you, or even now means for you. But in those meetings, uh, tell us about that.
So for me, the essence of influence comes from our being, not our doing. So if I'm in any situation, whether it's in a business meeting, board meeting, meeting with a client, teaching a class, running a summit, whatever it is, right? I'm very, very, see, I can feel it now. I'm very, very conscious of my intention. What do I intend as an outcome or an environment for whatever's going on? Do I want somebody to feel loved and held? Do I want somebody to feel inspired? Do I want somebody to hear what is essential for their next step in their soul's evolution? And it is all about stepping into that, right? Stepping into that intention and allowing it to radiate
Hmm.
from your being.
Okay, got it. Got it. Beautiful, beautifully said. And we'll also put a pin in that and come back.
Okay. I know there's
So,
a lot there, right?
well, there is, and of course, around here, these parts of me, we we love to use the infinity wave
Yeah,
for just that kind of thing. The
exactly.
difference is, and I'm not going to say better or worse. I'm just going to say we let the love and compassion inherent in the wave sort of do the work, do the magic. Whatever the highest and best is will usually arise. Now, I want to also add, and you've brought this up, so maybe this is the best time to do it. We can add in colors.
Mm.
We can add in other ingredients besides the love and compassion. Love and compassion is standard. That's what comes out of the novel, you know. So if we want to add in some of the elements that you talked about, like if they need to feel safe, you
Yeah.
know, and maybe love and compassion isn't enough. This feeling of you can add in safety. You can add in, you know, somebody feeling cozy, somebody feeling seen, somebody feeling admired or respected. You can add these elements into the wave and let it ride. Now, I also really honor the holding of the state that you're talking about, the intention, the gathering that state, holding it within you, and then being the beacon to beam it out.
Yep.
Both things work. And I encourage all of us to try these different ways of using energy and see what
Yes.
makes you feel better and what works better. If not, and maybe they're equal. I don't know. But this is so helpful for people to get another way if they don't have other ways already. Right.
I You and I have talked about the wave a few times, and I've had the blessing of experiencing it with your guidance as well as independently. And I couldn't agree more. And for me, the essence of this gift is that it allows you to find within yourself what is the authentic expression in that experience because it is unique to you.
Mm.
And let me tell you why I find that so incredibly vital. I have a foundational belief that each and every human on this planet is a sacred puzzle piece that locks in with every other puzzle piece on this planet. And when we have the courage to stand and this is my title for it as a sovereign catalyst,
Mm. Yes.
then we are absolutely 100% aligned with our soul's purpose.
Yes. You,
And two steps back from that, we all are born with an inherent yearning to find meaning for our life. That is a specific program that was put into every human being, some activated to higher levels, others less. But stepping into being a sovereign catalyst is the most authentic and powerful, just again, my belief, way to be your unique expression in the world and make a difference.
yes. Beautifully said, Teresa. We use the words, you know, being the beacon, and it's that idea. Um, but and don't say but, and I I love the way you express it. It's
Thank you.
eloquent. It's simple. It's accessible, and everybody you can feel it. You can feel like when you're speaking about it, we go, uh-huh, yes, deep inside. No. Okay. Well, okay. So you wandered the halls, changing the halls of corporate Canada, and At what point did you decide that there was a different path for you?
Um, so to be completely transparent, I would go into a job, get promoted, get moved into a more visible place, given a specific scope of work to execute, complete that scope of work, and then I'd hear, we're eliminating your position because it's all done.
You were too good.
So, well, that's that was the universe's way of saying, this is nice, but you don't need to be there anymore.
Right.
And honest to God, Hope, it took me forever, I think it did, to hear that. And, you know, the programming from my childhood to stay safe was so ingrained that I felt the only way I could do that was stay in control.
Oh gosh. Oh, let's let everybody hear that one more time. Can you say that again?
Yes, the only way to stay safe was to stay in control. And it was the wrong way to do it. The wrong way. So I would leave a job, and all of a sudden, these opportunities to speak or to teach or to run circles or to heal or something would drop into my lap. And I would do them as long as unemployment continued. And then I'd get scared again.
Mm.
Took me so long to learn to trust.
Oh, but
Like,
that programming was so intense. I mean,
it
and for
is,
most of us, that's how it is. We all were raised to achieve, 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 you know,
yeah,
et cetera. I don't need to go into it, but you've explained it very well.
yeah.
So what finally, how did the frying pan drop on your head? What happened?
Exactly. So, COVID.
Oh,
I had
really?
been, yes, I had been in and out of um doing coaching and mentoring for individuals for about 15 years.
Mhm.
But I'd never made it a full-time gig. It was always my, God, I hate this term because I think it's so bad and wrong for so many reasons, but here it is. It was always my side hustle, right? Had the corporate job, I had the health insurance, I had the blah, 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 blah. And then I did this, which made me happy.
Okay.
6 weeks before Seattle, I live in Seattle right now. We were the epicenter. We closed down first.
Yes.
6 weeks before we closed down, I got laid off. And I said to the universe, all right, bet. Let's do this. I won't go back. I'll commit. I'll say yes. But dang it, you better show up for me because I am scared. I am so scared, but I'll do it scared.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful. That's the threshold.
it is.
That's the threshold. And you
Yep.
do it anyway. That's when you find out what real courage is.
Yep.
When you step over the threshold, even though you're terrified.
Even though you're terrified.
And trust that the universe gonna catch you.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And the other piece to that that I really I think it's essential to share, I'm getting pinged right now, is don't cling to predetermined outcomes.
Yes.
Be curious, be neutral, be patient,
Yes.
because it is not going to look the way you think it does.
No.
Period. End of story. Never, 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 never.
Oh my God, it's so true.
Right? It just doesn't. So I said, yes, I'm going to stay in the corporate mentoring realm. I'm going to be an advisor, blah, blah, blah. I built my little website. Yay, me. Um, and then in 2021, my guide said, enough. You're using a very small percentage of your gifts and talents. And I started channeling.
Mm-hmm. Just like overnight, or how did that
Literally.
happen?
Yep. Just literally. I was sitting with a group of close friends who I still meet with all these years later, and I just started channeling information. And then all of a sudden, I was doing it constantly, and not a single source. Like Bashar has a very specific stream of consciousness that he brings in beautifully and brilliantly. I would get, I had my primary team, the 99. I was working with the Divine Feminine. I was working with Eli, who was part of a council specifically focused on changing systems. I was tapping into other people's higher selves. I was tapping into other people's guides. I'd literally blown the lid off of what I was capable of doing.
Wow.
Yeah. Then I took the next leap, and after interviewing all my current clients, why they came to me, hearing from all my clients because because of your intuition, I thought, all right, I've got to put it on my website, because until then it looked very corporate. So I put in intuitive on my website in 2021, and I can remember for weeks after thinking I just tanked my whole business.
Uh-huh.
And that's where it started. And there's nothing that I do today that isn't spiritually guided,
Mm.
that I don't check in and say, okay, here's what I thought I heard you said to my guides. Is this right?
Mm-hmm.
And then taking that next step.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, I understand that revolving door feeling. I feel that I never knew who was going to come in. Kind of like, many years ago, I was an actor for a long time, and there we used to play this theater game where there's a knock at the door, and you have no idea who's going to come in, and I feel like that's my life constantly now. Who's coming in? I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah.
But
Try and plan with that, right?
no, you no, and who would want to, right? Much more fun to be surprised.
Yeah.
So, Teresa, let's come back to that pin that I put in a while back, because I think we need to just talk a little bit about where we are now, what's
Mhm.
going on, what is the grander purpose or grander plan, or I'm curious how you see things.
I believe that we are in a rapid revolution, that we are learning about all the things that have been done and orchestrated and manipulated. And when we look at the societal constructs, we can see how they fed this narrative of command, control, manipulate that leaders hold. You know, there's the conspiracy theorists that are now saying, I told you so, right?
Yeah.
And this is all optimal for the human evolution. It is optimal for humanity to see what no longer has worked and actively choose what they wish to construct their reality with. Um, sorry, my guides keep wanting to come through.
I can see that.
Um, deconstructing the realities that have been created for us is not going to be graceful. It's not going to be ease-filled.
Mm-hmm.
However, it is up to every single human to determine what their role in the deconstruction is. I am very clear. My role is not to get out and march, even though the rebel in me would like to smack somebody upside the head, right?
Yes. My guides say, stay out of the fray.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My role is a spiritual catalyst. So for me to embody that sovereign catalyst being and hold the highest level of energy, whether you define it as dimension or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
it's essential that I keep my focus on intentions that support creation and allow those who have come into this life to take an active part in deconstruction to feel what we discussed earlier, safe, held, loved, supported, validated, right? And so it's up to everybody. What's your role? What do you want to do? Are you part of the deconstruction? Or are you part of the construction? There's two overlays that I want to add to this that my guides and I have been playing in this realm for a little while. First of all, okay, maybe three. Moving from reactor to creator mode. Each and every one of you are master creators. Hear me, please. You're masters. You don't need permission. And you don't need anybody to tell you how to do it. You simply need to trust what's in here. You know when you're aligned in action. You do. Trust that. Secondly, don't feed the fear. Feed what you want to see. That's essential. Again, that goes back to my setting intentions for what I want to create in the boardroom, right? Or in the meeting room. The third thing is, and we've had a lot of conversations about this, and I'm closing my eyes because I'm tapping into the energy of it because I want you to feel it and experience it as well as hear it, is we are bifurcating. We are differentiating third from fifth dimensional energies. And dimensions are just labels. It's simply a different vibratory rate. Now, all of us, myself included, will be bouncing back and forth between 3 and 5. The key is, how do you respond to situations when you're in 3? Do you use your 5D or higher vibratory resonance to address what's going on? And again, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. Curious, neutral, patient, right? Don't attach meaning where there is none. And don't make up meaning, because that doesn't help you or anybody else. So how do you navigate these dimensional or energetic shifts? And we've heard everybody talk about it, whether it's sunspots or EMFs or take your pick of vibratory changes influencing the planet. It's you. How do you want to respond? And some of us, myself included, headaches, nausea, dizziness, ringing in your ears,
Fatigue.
fatigue was a huge one for me too. So, hello, ringing the bell. The universe is saying, okay, burnout has been a big topic. There's a reason why. Resting is a verb. Everybody write that down. Put that on the fridge. Resting is a verb. So take care of yourself. Give yourself what you need in the moment. Naps are wonderful. Walks in nature are restorative. Find the thing that's generative for you and do it. And the other thing that's essential to understand in the 3-5D, the vibratory shift, each time you go from 3 to 5, so it makes me tear up. It's like implicit permission for people to come with you. It's like you're taking somebody's hand and you're leading them into a possibility that they've only had a yearning for.
Since the time they were born, and it all got covered over.
Yes.
You know what it reminds me of, Teresa, is, because I have a background in neurofeedback and brain stuff, and we want to build a new neural pathway. It's almost like as we venture into, that 5D realm, we're building that neural pathway, and it's going to take more visits until it's a highway. It's just a path, but it can turn into a highway, and then lots of people can come down the road.
Yes.
Oh, that's really a cool way to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And for many of us here, that's your job. Your job is to be that beacon, run that infinity wave, and call people to you. Give them implicit permission to be their best self by being your best self.
Yeah, that's it right there.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, that is just so beautiful. You're so beautiful. Really. You're just a gift. You're just a gift. And I feel blessed to know you. Thank you for reaching out to me.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
I finally got through the melee of all the things, all the plates I'm spinning. Oh, you're good. You're patient. Before we get to the question and answers, I want to talk a little bit about why the timing of this interview is so special.
Let's do that.
Let's do that.
So I'm going to tell you how it started because I think it's a cool story. In late 2024, November, my guides came to me and said, "We want you to run a summit." And I said, "The hell I am. They're stupid." And I thought the conversation was over. It's still a me, right? And so I said, they just kept after me for weeks. And I just said, look, I can't tell you how many summits I bought, and had 20 hours of videos emailed to me that I never watched, or maybe watched 2. It was not only the overwhelm, it was the value. If you're going to share your wisdom with me, I want time to be with it. I want time to integrate it into myself so that I can understand why I was drawn to you and what can I learn from you. So I started picking up the phone and phoning people I knew and then getting referrals to people I didn't know. And I pitched this idea to unsummit the summit and basically allow anywhere from 8 to 10 guests to 8 to 10 master teachers to come and teach, but to do it once a week so that you have time to integrate, so that you have time to absorb the information. And thus the Global Evolutionary Summit was born. And it was a year ago this month that we began that journey. And the feedback that I have received has been things like, this is a summit I didn't know I needed.
Mm.
And so, and that's why I reached out to Hope. I ran across her video and I immediately heard, email her. She needs to be part. So the next Global Evolutionary Summit, this is the third time that we've held it, begins on March 19th. And for every single person that enrolls, they get Hope first.
I'm the precursor. I'm the appetizer.
You're the full meal deal, sister. So, and I love it because my word for this year is collaborate. I don't believe in competition. I believe that the more that we come together and share our wisdom, the more variety of wisdom, the more you'll find what you need to evolve in your life. And so we have 9 speakers who will be sharing their wisdom. Hope kicks us off with the pre-recorded session. And we will also, for the first time, be doing panel discussions so that all the participants can come in and ask the teachers questions. Like, tell me how to apply this, or I experienced this, or what do you think about this, or tell me more about that. It's very interactive. And we will look at everything from leadership and avoiding burnout with some really concrete. This woman has been teaching this for many years, 10 years. We have a mystic out of Oregon who will take you along the luminous path. We have just extraordinary human beings who said, yes, I want to share.
Teresa, let's put that in the chat, how they can sign up. And I'll be sending out an email as well. Well, I'm sending out a Sunday. I always send out a Sunday email, and I put it in there along with. So it'll be in there, but I would love it if people could have it now.
Yeah, there you go.
There it is. Beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think everybody can tell because of the quality that Teresa carries that the summit will be up to those standards and well worth the time. And I love that you're spacing it out. It does take time. It does take integration and not to be overwhelmed on a weekend summit or whatever, 24 hours, 48 hours, blah, blah, blah. And it's just too much. You can't take it in.
Yeah.
So I really love your model. And I have to confess that maybe it was 3 weeks ago now, as I was waking up one morning, in that liminal state, I heard, you need to do a summit. And I woke up and I went, no, I don't. Do I? So I may be calling you, girlfriend. And
I'm with you. I've got you back. I promise.
Like, oh God, really? Maybe next year. We'll see. But yeah, I had that ringy dingy, as well. And I thought, oh, I got to tell Teresa about it. Anyway, I think everybody will benefit greatly from what Teresa has pulled together. And so you've got the link. Now, let's take a little time for Q&A. Does anybody have some questions for Teresa? Really, you got to jump in here because it's rare to have her and like this. She's a very busy lady. So jump in here with some of your wonderings. Anybody out there? Oh, nobody wants to. Sometimes it's a quiet night, but I think you have so filled our coffers. You have filled us to the brim,
Good.
and in the heart, in the heart. And Teresa, do you offer private sessions?
I do. I do private channeling. I'm also a mentor, both for life and business. There's a reason why I spent so many years in corporate America. And I also have the summit. I have a podcast. I have a number of projects going on, and classes that people can participate in. So
So
if you
how do
go to
they
the
find you?
website,
Yeah,
yeah,
teresawarnstaff.com, right?
correct. Yep.
Okay. So
Yep.
everybody got that, teresawarnstaff.com. Do you teach channeling?
I will if you ask me. Yeah. I mean, i- it's so it's so specific to the individual, right? What I teach is intuition. So I actually have some online classes called Create Clarity that teach you how to foster your intuition. And that includes channeling. So channeling is simply the a aspect of direct knowing. So,
Or times, yeah, not knowing.
oh yeah,
Like, what did you say?
you sure?
but, but I think that I believe that we all have the capacity to do that. And I
Hmm.
think one of the things that gets in our way is our desire to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So really, in my experience, almost everything has come through the back door when I'm not focused on it.
Yep.
And so it's a surprise, and it's what it requires of me is to not be invested.
Yeah.
I really be hanging out like an open sieve, just hanging out.
Well, I think the most essential element to fostering your intuition, including channeling, is be curious.
Yes,
Because I promise each and every one of you is receiving hundreds of messages a day.
yes,
And it's learning how to communicate with your guides, with your soul. How do they want to communicate with you? How do you want to receive communication and negotiating that? For example, you could colors could mean something to you. Animals. I'm one of my most playful ways of working with my guides is, hey, show me wildlife. Because I walk every day, and a couple of days ago I saw a coyote, some eagles, a raven
mm,
in a place where ravens do not go
mm,
because they're very solitary
mhm,
woodland creatures.
mhm.
So, what is the way that you want to communicate with your guides, with your teams? And so working with you to discover that.
Yeah,
Is it hearing? Do you hear words or conversations in the grocery store, and all of a sudden they make sense 3 days later? So, yes, I teach channeling, but so much more.
yeah. That's wonderful, and God bless you for doing that. I teach dowsing, and to me, it is a great bridge to
Yep.
develop that intuition, because after a while, whether you're using a pendulum or the L rods that I normally use, um, that's when you start to know before they move.
Hmm.
But you've got the confirmation, and if you're wrong, they'll tell you.
Yeah.
And so that's really helpful because you start to hone and trust, as you go down the path. There are many other ways as well, but it's one of the ways I like because it's immediate,
Hmm.
and Yeah, so that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Everybody
And
jump into Teresa's website and check her out. She's
and
got
and
lots.
the other thing is I'll recommend is I also do soul contract readings.
Oh, wow.
So if you want to know why you're here,
Oh, wow.
I can do that as well. It's quite profound.
Yes. 'Cause, that was my big question before all this happened, and
Yeah.
then I got my answer, but, uh, I remember what it was like to wonder that for so many years, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah, well, you're a font of information and a fountain of love, fountain of wisdom.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. I really appreciate you coming on, and this will be picked up by a lot more people when we set it out, and that'll be within a few days, hopefully. Okay.
Wonderful.
So thanks to everybody for coming tonight. It's been a real pleasure to have you all with us as we had this very profound conversation. And as I always say, if you like this, like, subscribe, and share. And go visit Teresa's website. All right. Mwah. Lots of love.
Thank you. Love you guys.